Hello viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you're watching Yes, mine as well as your channel. I know the thumbnail says it all. Y'all have been waiting for Pygmalion. Many of you have requested me. So this time it is for my modern English students, Pygmalion. So this is a summary of Pygmalion. Like Shakespeare's Macbeth, Pygmalion also has 5 acts, and the difference is that in Shakespeare's dramas the acts have several scenes, but in Shaw's Pygmalion there are 5 acts, so those acts are only the scenes. That means in each act there is only one scene. 5 acts, that means only 5 scenes in it. So a little bit of the background of Pygmalion. Who is Pygmalion in reality? So this has been taken from mythology, Greek mythology. So Pygmalion was supposed to be a sculptor who lived in Cyprus, and he had got sick of the women of his time. So he decided to create a woman or a lady who would be the emblem of a perfect woman. Means she would have all the beauty and everything that a perfect woman resembles. So after that, he created a masterpiece. The sculpting was so beautiful, the sculpture was so beautiful that he fell in love with his creation. And then he visited the goddess Aphrodite and prayed to her. He would go and pray to her that please bring her back to life. Please bring her to life. Please give her life. Not back to life, please give her life. So he would go and every day pray. So finally, goddess Aphrodite, she came to visit the statue, to have a look at the statue. And she was also very impressed. And then she blessed him, and Pygmalion found that the sculpture had become a living woman. So he was very happy. They got married and led a happy life. So this is the background. And based on this, B.Shaw has written this drama, Pygmalion. So in Pygmalion, the major characters are Eliza Doolittle, she's the heroine. We have Professor Higgins. He is a professor of phonetics, pronunciation. Then there is Cornell Pickering. Mrs. Higgins, that means Professor Higgins' mother. Then you have the Hills, Insford Hills. And these are the major characters. Freddie's sister, these are sub-characters. The major characters are 3. Eliza Doolittle, Eliza Doolittle, Mr. or rather Professor Higgins, and Cornell Pickering. So these are the 3 major characters. So what happens? The drama starts when people have assembled in a bus stop we can say, due to the rains. So they have come and taken shelter there. And Eliza Doolittle is a flower girl. She's a poor flower girl selling flowers. There are different types of people gathered there. And then Cornell Pickering comes. He is also thoroughly wet. And then Eliza offers him the flowers. She wants that he should buy flowers and so that she could get some money. And then someone in the crowd tells Eliza that see, there is a copper, he is writing down whatever you are saying so he can get you arrested and all that. So Eliza, naturally, she's a woman of good character. And she gets worried and she keeps on throwing tantrums that I am a good girl, I am a good girl. So people gather around the note taker. The note taker is no one other than Professor Higgins. So he is writing down the different types of pronunciation made by the people there in the gathering. Because listening to these words, he can find out the place where the person lives, the place where the person lives. So when Eliza comes and talks to him, or rather accuses him that why are you doing all this, I am a good girl, so you have no right, I am selling flowers and all that. So he pinpoints her dialect to be that of Covent Garden. In this way, there are bystanders who come to sympathize with Eliza, and Higgins goes on pointing out the places from where they come. So this interests the colonel who had come. He had rushed in to save himself from the rain, and then it's found out that Colonel Pickering had come from India. So then he asked Professor Higgins, can you tell me from where I come? So he tells all the places where Pickering had been. And recently he's come from India, so he says, you are a mixture of all these places. Then Pickering says that I have come here to meet Professor Higgins. And then it is found out that Professor Higgins had wanted to go to India to meet Colonel Pickering, and he had come all the way from India only to meet Professor Higgins. So both of them are very happy, and then they go to Higgins's house. And before going, Higgins feels that he should be charitable, so he takes a handful of money which he has in his pocket and throws at Eliza. So this is where the scene ends. There are 2 or 3 characters like Freddie and his mother and his sister, and they are the sister is always complaining. So finally, when Freddie comes with a taxi to take them, they have already left because the rain has stopped. So now Eliza, she boards the taxi with the money which Higgins has given her, and she goes to her own house. So this is where the first act ends. So after that, what happens? The next morning, Higgins has a visitor, and she is none other than Eliza Doolittle. Eliza had heard the conversation between Professor Higgins and Colonel Pickering. So now Eliza wants to take tuitions from him so that her dialect becomes a bit sophisticated, so in order to take a job in a flower shop or any other place. So she wants to uplift her situation. So initially Higgins tries to drive her away. He's amused that she's offering him money, because Higgins has very rich clients, means people who have suddenly come into money, but their dialect remains of their impoverished background, poor people, but suddenly they have come into money. But their dialect, the moment they speak, it gives out that they come from an impoverished background. So they come to take lessons from him. So he has very, rich clients. So naturally, when Eliza Doolittle, with her paltry amount of money, offers to take tuitions from him, he is quite amused. First he tries to throw her out, and then a naughty idea comes into his mind. So he and Pickering, so he says that I can pass this girl as a duchess in 3 months. So Pickering is also interested. So there is a bet, and Higgins throws a bet that I can do this, and Pickering says that if you can, all the expenses to train this girl, I will bear the expenses. So they enter into the bet, and in the meantime, Eliza's father comes. He had come here only to get some money out of Higgins. So Higgins finds him very amusing, quite a moralist, and then he gives him some money, and Alfred Doolittle leaves. Actually, he was not bothered about his daughter. He had come to get some money, extract some money, that you are keeping my daughter in confinement. But she had come voluntarily. So now what happens? Eliza had come in a very shabby and dirty state. And Higgins, when he decided to take up the job, he told Eliza that you must go and clean yourself. So he tells his housekeeper to go and see that she has a proper bath. So just scrub her and all that and make her presentable and then only bring her. So she makes a lot of confusion in the washroom, and anyhow, when she comes in clean and proper, so while taking the money and leaving, Alfred Doolittle fails to recognize his daughter only, because he had always seen her as a shabby and in poor dress and all that. So anyhow, so Higgins takes up the challenge and then he trains Eliza. Initially, it's a very difficult job. And then the first test which Eliza has to give is in Mrs. Higgins's house. That means Higgins's mother, Mrs. Higgins. In her house, they take Eliza. And that day is Mrs. Higgins's day when she entertains guests. So the family of the Hills, that means Freddie, his mother and his sister, they come and they are unable to recognize Eliza. So Eliza comes there as a smart young lady, and still when she gets excited, her Covent Garden accents come out, and Higgins very cleverly says these are the small talks, and Freddie is very impressed with her. Mrs. Higgins doesn't really like the idea. She feels that these two are really, they have grown up, but they are just very childish. Pickering and Mr. Higgins and her son Higgins. Higgins is a sort of mama's boy. So she feels that because she's concerned about Eliza. Being a woman, she's concerned about Eliza. She feels these two are like grown-up kids. They take this as a game. But once she has overcome this poverty-stricken condition and she acts like a lady or a duchess, they pass her off as a duchess, but that doesn't make her a real duchess. Now she won't be able to go back to her earlier condition of selling flowers. Then what will happen to her? So this bothers Mrs. Higgins, but they are not. They take it as a fun. They take it as a game. They are not concerned about Eliza's future. So in this way, Eliza somehow passes this first test. And the next test is at the ambassador's garden party. And there she is introduced as the Duchess. And she plays her role very well. Higgins is there, Pickering is there, and they always manage it along with her. And then there is a rival of Higgins also there, Nepomuk. So everything goes on fine at the garden party, at the ambassador's garden party. Eliza plays her role very well. So Eliza feels that she should deserve some congratulation, she should deserve some praise from these two when they return to their house, to Higgins's house. But Higgins is completely engrossed in his achievement. He goes on praising himself and what he has done and all that. So Pickering also, they are very amused and very happy that they have somehow made it possible. None of them think of Eliza, and this is what hurts her. So then Higgins, they completely are as if unaware of her presence. They completely ignore her. And later when Higgins comes looking for his slippers, so Eliza is very angry and she throws the slippers at his face. And they have a fight. And Higgins calls her ungrateful. Next morning, Eliza is not to be found. So Higgins and Pickering, they are alarmed. and they go to Mrs. Higgins's house and inform her that Eliza is missing. So Mrs. Higgins also, she scolds them for their childlike behavior. She says that, are you aware how you must have hurt her feelings? So in the meantime, who enters? Alfred Doolittle. Why? Alfred Doolittle is not a beggar anymore or that dustman anymore. He is now a rich man. Why? Because Higgins had, in a amusing manner, referred to one rich millionaire about Alfred Doolittle being the most moral person. So this was a sarcastic remark. Why? Because he was offered more money but he didn't take. Only he took the £5 and he had gone. So that is why Higgins had referred to that millionaire person, a millionaire, as in today's world, the most moralist person is Alfred Doolittle. So before dying, this man has left quite a good amount of money to Alfred Doolittle, and now he is a rich person, but he is not happy. He would rather have been the dustman and enjoyed begging a little money from someone or the other. But now he has to live up to his standards, and accordingly he has to get married. He cannot live in sin. So he is marrying the woman with whom he had been living, and he comes to invite them, and then Pickering and Higgins realize that Eliza is in Mrs. Higgins's house only. She had come straight to Mrs. Higgins, and Mrs. Higgins had been hiding her all along. And while Eliza leaves for her to attend her father's wedding, so Higgins gives her the jobs which he used to do when she used to stay in his house. Why? Because he feels that Eliza will return to me. She will come back to my house. Because when Eliza was there, she managed everything. She had as if become his secretary. And Higgins still hopes, and she says that I can take up a job with your rival Nepomuk. And he says that I won't allow that, I'll kill you then. And then she says I can marry. Initially it was Higgins only who had suggested that you can marry someone. There will be lines of people waiting to get married to you. And now she says that I'll get married to Freddie. And Higgins really doesn't like the idea because Freddie is nothing but a fool. So while Eliza leaves with her father to attend his wedding, Higgins keeps on giving orders to her as to the things he needs to be done for him. And this is where the story ends. So we don't know what happens, whether she really gets married to Freddie or she comes back to Wimpole Street where Higgins lives and there is a happy ending with Professor Higgins. We are not told. The story ends here, the drama ends here, keeping the audience their fingers crossed and guessing what really happened to Eliza Doolittle. So this is quite a famous drama written by George Bernard Shaw, 20th century playwright. So a perfect contemporary and a match. I wouldn't say so much match for Shakespeare. Well, Shakespeare is 400 years old, or rather more than 400 years old. So if Shakespeare's dramas are not liked by people because the language is so different, in that case, B.Shaw, Shaw's dramas are comparatively easy. Shakespeare's English is Elizabethan English, whereas George Bernard Shaw's English is of the 20th century. So those of you who find Shakespeare difficult, you can always go for Pygmalion. So bye for the time being, and in my next video I will upload Act 1. There is no Scene 1, so I'll upload Act 1. And yes, I forgot to tell you one thing. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and yes, the like one. Y'all don't give me likes, but your comments are so good. Please, I need them to keep me going.